What's up, guys? Welcome back. My name is Vanessa. If you're new here, I am a registered nurse, a licensed medical esthetician, and a certified makeup artist. Today's video, I wanted to talk about just nursing school in general, what my experience was like, and give you guys some tips on how to get through if you're currently in nursing school or if you're thinking about going, you're going to be starting soon, whatever the case. Okay, so let me get my tips pulled up here just to give you guys a little bit of background on my situation. So I, straight out of high school, went to a state college and got a business degree, just business management in general. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I felt like business was a safe route, and I thought at the time that I wanted to be a business owner of some sort, so I thought that that would work out well for me, and I don't regret it. I feel like business was like a safe choice, I guess, and I feel like everything happens for a reason, so I don't regret getting a business degree. But business is not really my thing. It just, like, I was so bored. I was not excited by it at all. Just not my thing. So then I graduated, went to aesthetic school because I've always loved skincare. I've always loved makeup, and I thrived in aesthetic school. Like, I loved it. It was so much fun. It was just the best. Like, I love learning about something that I was actually like passionate about and I was into. So aesthetic school was great. But then I graduated, started working in aesthetics, and I felt very, like, I just kind of hit a plateau. I just wanted to do more. Then I was looking into, like, different career options and, like, thinking long and hard about stuff I wanted to do. I would get patients all the time that would have issues that I couldn't fix. Like, facials only take you so far, you know, like I could do a little gentle chemical peel, I could do a microderm, you know, whatever. But then I found myself constantly being like, okay, I can do this for you, I can get you this far, but then you need to go see a dermatologist or a cosmetic nurse and get this done. So then I was like, you know what, I'm tired of recommending my patients to other people. I want to be that person for them. So I ended up, did all the research and like how to become an aesthetic nurse, how to get into cosmetic nursing, and there's really no way around it. You kind of have to go to nursing school, which I did not want to do. Nursing has never been like even in my mind at all. I had a roommate in college that was in nursing school. I have lots of family that are nurses, and I respect the crap out of nurses. Like, you're so much stronger than me. But it just was never something that interested me at all. So I did not want to go to nursing school. So I was like, I want to be in nursing school the least amount of time possible. So I was looking at accelerated programs. So luckily I found a college very nearby that offered an accelerated program that was 12 months long, which is crazy. I got a BSN degree, so a bachelor's, in 12 months, which is absolutely insane. I was like, this is perfect for me because I can just get in, you know, like make the grades I have to make and get out, because I did not want to be in nursing school. So I had to take a few prerequisite courses. I can't even remember what they are now. It was like anatomy, microbiology, I don't even remember, but it wasn't too bad. And then I started nursing school just a few months later. So I went into nursing school with the mindset of, I just need to survive. Like, this is going to be awful. I'm going to hate this. This is not my thing. But I just needed to survive for 12 months, and then I can get out and have my dream job. That mindset is probably not the best. I wish I would have went into it a little bit more optimistic and tried to, like, have a more open mind and make the best out of things, but I just didn't. Like, that was just not my headspace, and I think that's why I had the nursing experience that I did. So that leads me to my first tip, which is to be open-minded and avoid negativity. So if you're going to nursing school, you're probably somebody who loves nursing and that's what you want to do. You want to be like, I don't want to say an actual nurse, because I think aesthetic nurses are actual nurses too, but you know what I mean, like working in healthcare, like in the hospital, in a primary care setting, whatever it be. There's so many options for nursing these days. I don't think that most people would have the same mindset that I did going in, hopefully. But if you are somebody who you don't want to be a traditional nurse and that's not your thing, try to go into it open-minded anyways. I need a drink. I think I'm getting sick. This is an Olipop, by the way. These are so good. They have like probiotics or something in them, and they're really good. This one's the vintage cola flavor. Highly recommend. Okay, where was I at? Oh, you want to be open-minded going into it regardless of your situation. Don't have any expectations, honestly, would be my advice going into it, because you never really know what your experience is going to be like or how you're going to feel about it. Nursing school is really tough, but it is not, it's not impossible. You can definitely do it. I'm not some kind of like effortlessly genius person or anything like that, and with my experience, it really wasn't that bad. It was difficult for sure, and you definitely have to dedicate a lot of time to it, but don't be like terrified. And I said avoid negativity. By that, I just meant like I went into it with a very negative headspace and was like, I'm gonna hate this, this is gonna be awful. And if you expect something to be terrible and you expect to hate something, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna hate it. So you kind of have to like lie to yourself in a way and just be like, okay, this might be really great. I might meet some really cool people. I might enjoy this more than I think I will. And just go into it with a more positive headspace. That's definitely something I wish I would have done differently. So my second tip is to be willing to learn and eager to do and help with anything. You are going to learn so much in nursing school. And if you're like me, most of it's going to go in one ear and out the other. But just really be ready to learn and take on so much information. And to do that, I feel like you really need to like decrease your stress levels, which is hard. But if you're super stressed out and you're panicking, it's really hard to take on information. I'll talk more about that later, but also be able to help with anything. So just be like the first person to jump on any kind of opportunity whatsoever. Your teachers will love you for that. Your clinical instructors will love you for that. The nurses that you work with will love you, especially in clinical 100%. If you see a nurse that like has her hands full and is like struggling, jump in and help her. If you see of course, depending on your like rules that your nursing school gives you and stuff, if there's a code happening, jump in, help wherever you can. Just literally anything that you can help with, do it. If somebody says, hey, would you like to do this? Yes, immediately say yes. The next thing is make time for a social life. So I feel like it's like a joke when you start nursing school. Everybody's like, oh, be prepared to not have a social life at all. And for me, that was kind of my case. But if I had it to do differently, I would force myself to make time to like hang out with my friends and go out and do stuff, because you need it. Like for your own mental health, you need it, and you don't realize how much of an impact that makes. Like when you are constantly just going to class, coming home, studying, and then on repeat for a year straight, you really need to have that time to decompress and just like go out and have fun and not think about nursing school at all. So you're going to be crazy stressed. You're going to be like covered up with assignments and stuff. And I'm not saying like go out and party and like don't think about your schoolwork all the time. But like once a month or so, make plans with friends and stick to it and go do those plans. Because you will thank yourself for it later. My fourth tip is to prioritize self-care. And this kind of leads into what I was talking about earlier about lowering your stress levels, even though that sounds like impossible to do. By this I mean like however you deal with stress, like whatever works for you, whether that's like taking a bath in the evenings or hanging out with friends or working out. If you're the person that works out to relieve stress, I'm jealous of you because working out stresses me out more. But like going on a run, walking your dogs, going to the dog park, whatever you can do to take care of yourself and lower your stress, you're going to do so much better at nursing school, and you're going to be a lot less miserable. Active recall has been shown in so many studies to be super beneficial when you're trying to remember stuff. So if you don't know what this is, pretty much the way I did it was I would go to class, go home, and I bought a whiteboard. I can link one. There's tons on Amazon or wherever, but I'll link some below. You could just grab a Sharpie, or not a Sharpie, don't use a Sharpie. Grab a dry erase marker And then on the whiteboard, just write down as many things as you remember. So if you're going over like stomach issues, go through and write down like as many of the diseases that they mentioned in class as you can remember, and then write out from that like signs and symptoms or treatments or as much stuff as you remember. And for whatever reason, that makes it stick in your head so much more when you kind of test yourself and just see what you remember, and then you know what you need to go back and brush up on, and it's just super helpful. I feel like I did a really bad job of explaining that, but I'll try to find some like better explanation videos and link those down below for active recall and how to implement that into your study routine. The next thing is don't read everything. This one might be a little bit controversial, but I am not somebody who learns very much from reading. Like I can read a paragraph and not understand what I just read, and then I have to read it 4 more times, and it ends up just being super time consuming and not as beneficial. And I remember like the first semester of nursing school, especially first day of class, I go and they're like, you need to have these chapters read by next week. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't want to sit down and read a bunch of chapters. Like, it's not going to be beneficial. And I tried it for the first few weeks, and I was like, this is not working. So instead, what I would do is I would look at the lecture slides and learn everything I needed to know from that. And then if I didn't understand something or I needed like further explanation on something, I would go read just that small section of the book about it. And then if I still needed help, I would watch videos. So I know a lot of people watch Registered Nurse RN. She's really good. My favorite was Simple Nursing. I can't remember that guy's name right now. Is it Mike? I don't know. But he does really, really good explanation videos, and he gives all kinds of like memory tips and tricks. Everybody learns better in individual ways. So hopefully by the time that you get to nursing school, you know which way that you learn best. If not, don't worry, you'll figure it out. But I know for me, I'm a very visual learner, and so videos were definitely like the absolute best for me. The next thing, tip number 7, is make a study schedule and don't cram. I am somebody who's very, very, very guilty of cramming, and I did this pretty much all throughout nursing school, but I don't recommend it. Like, do as I say, not as I do. So the best way to go about this is to look at your class schedule and then look at whatever else you have going on that week, and then what like exams you have or assignments you have due, and then literally write out like from this time to this time I'm going to study every single day, or just however you need to do it, but make a schedule and stick to it, and start studying for a test like weeks in advance. Don't wait until a couple nights before, because that's going to make it stick in your mind so much better. And then if you have questions or you still don't understand something, you can get help from professors, get help from classmates, whatever, and then by the time the test comes around, you're good to go. Tip number 8 is to watch videos to elaborate on topics you don't understand. I've already kind of said this, but I put Simple Nursing in parentheses because he really was my saving grace in nursing school. I highly recommend. Tip number 9 is to be social with your classmates, but don't get involved in drama. So, I was not the most social person throughout nursing school because I was, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty down bad in nursing school. Like, I hated my life. I was not having a good time. I just was not a fan. And I think it's just because, like, nursing is just so not my thing, traditional nursing. And so I was just not having fun. I went into it with a negative headspace, and so I had a really negative experience. And I know for me, when I'm, like, not in a good place, like if I'm in a bad mood or I'm upset about something, I'm really bad to isolate, and I just like don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I don't want anybody around me. Like, I just want to be by myself and be miserable, which is not good. Don't do that. But yeah, I was not the most social person. I mean, I was friendly and stuff, but I definitely didn't like make like a good group of friends or anything in nursing school, which I really do regret. I wish I would have, you know, branched out a little more, took people up on going to lunch or going out on the weekends with them, or just like doing more stuff. But like I said, I just really isolated myself in nursing school because I was down bad. So don't be like that if you can help it. really try to go into it with a positive headspace, be super friendly with everyone, take people up if they invite you to go places or invite you to go study with them to the library, take them up on it. If a big group of people are going out on the weekends, go with them, because I really wish I would have done that differently. But there's definitely a fine line, because honestly, I don't even know any of the drama that went around in class. But if you have a big, there was like 50 something people in my cohort, so if you have a big group of people together, and we were together almost like every day for a year straight, there's going to be some kind of drama, of course, like always. I don't even really know what happened in my class, because like I said, I wasn't really like too involved socially. But definitely try to stay out of that if you can, because all that stuff gets back to the professors and it looks bad, and you just really don't want that reputation, like being involved and stuff like that. And not to mention, it just adds stress onto something that's already stressful enough. So just try your best to get along with everybody, stay out of drama. Yeah, don't talk negatively behind people's back, like just common sense stuff. Just try to stay out of drama. Tip number 10, we are halfway through, is to ask a lot of questions and ask for a change of nurse if yours is not helpful. So you really have to learn to have a backbone in nursing school. And I feel like I do have a backbone in certain situations, but I didn't want to cause any drama, and I didn't want to like make anyone's life harder than it has to be, you know what I mean? But I do wish I would have stood up for myself a little bit more in terms of like in clinical. A lot of nurses are really stressed out, especially right now. A lot of nurses are really stressed. They're really overworked. They are not having a good time. And because of that, they're not always the nicest or the most helpful or the most willing to teach. And not to mention, I know at least around where I live, these nurses are letting you follow them around and like do all this stuff with them to teach you, and they're not getting paid any extra. Like there's no incentive for them. It literally just like takes extra time out of their day and extra effort when they're already exhausted. So I fully understand, and I'm not like trying to throw shade or anything on these nurses, because trust me, I get it. But in the same breath, you're paying a crap ton of money to go to nursing school and learn this stuff and get experience. And if you get assigned a nurse that's like super hateful to you, and you feel like you can't ask her questions, and she's not letting you do anything, and you're just not learning or getting anything out of the experience, definitely bring it up to her first, which I know can be super scary and you might not want to. But for your own benefit, bring it up to her and be like, hey, I know you're probably really stressed out and like, you know, just trying to get your stuff done, but I would love to be able to like help out wherever I can. Like, I'm here to learn, whatever. Be really respectful about it, but just let her know that like you don't feel like you're getting the best experience pretty much with her or him. And then if nothing changes, or if she's not very receptive to that, then go to the charge nurse and ask to get a different nurse. You're probably going to be talked about when you leave that clinical shift, but you need to advocate for your own education, especially if you're somebody who does want to work in the hospital or work in actual healthcare and you need to learn these specific skills. You really need to advocate for yourself, stand up for yourself, and get the experience that you're paying to get. So the next one is probably the most important tip in my opinion. Tip number 12 is to be respectful to patients and don't talk about them behind their back. I feel like everyone is going to experience this if you're in nursing school. And I think this kind of goes along with like nurses just being really tired, overworked, like struggling, especially in a hospital setting. But you'll have patients that aren't always the nicest and that do stuff that's kind of crazy or just kind of like take you by surprise, I guess is a good way to put it. But you have to keep in mind that these people are sick and they're looking to you to help to make them better. So I mean, think about if you've ever been super sick, or you have a really bad injury where you're in a ton of pain. Like, you're probably not the nicest person either, because you're in pain and you're sick and you don't feel good. So just try to keep in mind you're seeing these patients at their worst, and so yeah, they might not be the nicest or the most friendly, But don't leave that room and go talk crap about them to the other nurses or to your friends or whatever. Because I witnessed this a lot and it made me sick, because I'm like, if my family member was that patient that was in the hospital and the nurses are leaving the room and then going to talk about how awful they were to everybody else, like, it's just not a good look. And it's like, you're supposed to be taking care of these people. You're supposed to be making them feel better. But in the same breath, if a patient is being like super nasty to you, don't put up with it. Like, you need to say, that's disrespectful. I'm not going to let you talk to me like that. You know, stand your ground, but don't go talk crap about them to everybody else. Tip number 13 is be respectful to the professors and don't talk bad about them. Give them constructive criticism when warranted. So this one's also super important, because your professors are going to be people who, I mean, they're in the same field that you're going to be working in, and word travels really, really fast, especially in like the healthcare setting. And also, even if your professors like come off as like a little hateful or a little mean, they're there to help you. They're I can't talk. They're there to get you through nursing school, make you a good nurse, make you a safe nurse. And so you need to respect them no matter what. And if you think that they're not doing a good job, or you think that they're doing stuff or saying stuff that's a little out of line, then you need to go to them and have that conversation with them in a very respectful manner. Don't go and talk about how awful you think they are, or, you know, they're a terrible teacher, blah, 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 to all of your classmates and everyone else, because that's probably going to get back to them. There's a lot of snitches out there, and you do not want that beef with the professors. You really don't. So just try to be respectful, and if you have an issue, bring it to their attention. If it doesn't get fixed, work your way up the chain of command. I never really had that issue. All of my professors were great. They were all super sweet and like amazing teachers. And I know I would probably be really like intimidated to go to them and say like, hey, I don't think you're doing a great job. But that kind of goes along with like, you need to advocate for your education. And if you feel like you don't feel comfortable in class to ask questions. Okay, sorry about that. My camera cut off. I really need to get a bigger memory card. But I was on, let's see. Okay, I don't remember what I was saying about the last tip, so I'm just going to move on. But tip number 14 is job shadow and network while you're in school. This is really important, especially if you're somebody who you know what you want to do when you're actually a nurse is not something that you're going to get experience in school. I knew that I wanted to work in the aesthetics industry, and obviously there's no experience for that in nursing school. I thank God had some connections with a family friend that hooked me up and got me to job shadow this amazing injector who I learned so much from. And I wish I would have done a little bit more shadowing and networking while I was in school, because it did take me several months to find a job. As you guys probably know, the aesthetics industry is really, really competitive, and it's super hard to get into right now because a lot of nurses are leaving the bedside and wanting to get into that industry. So it was not easy, and I probably should have done more networking and shadowing and stuff than I did. But even if you're not going to do aesthetics, if you know, or if you have an idea of where you want to work or what you want to do, reach out to those people and see if you can come hang out for a few days and just kind of, introduce yourself to everybody, get to know them, and kind of see what a day in their life is like. Because also, I know for a lot of people, when you start nursing school, you have an idea and you think you know what you want to do, but then sometimes when you're in school and you're getting different experiences, you fall in love with another area, and then you end up working in that area. So it's good to just get as much experience as you can and network as much as possible. Tip number 15 kind of goes along with that. Don't feel bad if you don't have a job lined up right after school. I know, especially for me, to get a job like in a hospital right now they're begging for nurses, because like I said, everyone's short-staffed. They really need nurses. So, and a lot of the people straight out of nursing school, they do want to go work in a hospital, because that is a good place to start out if you want to work in the healthcare setting. So, I feel like almost all of my classmates had jobs like before we graduated, and I was kind of panicking, I remember, and being like, oh my God, like I don't have a job lined up. Like, what am I going to do when I graduate? But just try to take a deep breath and take your time. Don't feel rushed. Like, I know you want to make money and get out there and start your job. Trust me, I get it. But not everyone is going to have a job lined up, and it's okay. You don't have to rush into a job. And honestly, it might be kind of better for you to take that time to like just decompress from nursing school and really think about what you want to do. Think about what fields you want to be in. Apply to different jobs. Go to different interviews. Kind of get a feel for the work environment. So yeah, don't feel bad. Don't stress out. Everything's going to work out. Just take a breath. Tip number 16 honestly should have been one of my first tips. And that is to be organized and keep a planner with dates or an Excel spreadsheet. This is so important. I cannot stress the importance of this enough, because there are so many assignments, there's so many labs, lectures, like there's so much going on in nursing school. And then of course your personal life doesn't stop too, so you have a lot of stuff going on. And if you don't keep track of that somehow, unless you're like a superhuman, you're going to forget to turn assignments in, you're going to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, sleep in when you're not supposed to, like it's going to go south. So make sure that you, however works best for you, whether it's using an app or having an actual paper planner, or like I had an Excel spreadsheet. I had multiple planners too, and like dry erase planners and the whole 9 yards. But I also had an Excel spreadsheet that I color coded by class, and I would put like assignments and due dates and stuff that I had to do, exams, whatever, the dates that they were due in chronological order, and then I would mark them off as I got them done. And that just kind of helped me stay on top of things, see what I had to do that week, and make sure that I didn't miss an assignment. I think I missed like maybe one assignment throughout my entire nursing school career, and it was like a small assignment, so it wasn't a big deal. I'm like a super forgetful person, so if I wouldn't have had my 15 planners and my Excel spreadsheet, it wouldn't have been the same story. So just take my advice, get a planner, stay on top of your due dates. Number 17, I've already kind of touched on this, but it's to follow all the rules and stay out of trouble. There's a lot of rules in nursing school, like as far as like what you can wear, what you can post on social media, you have to have your watch on. Like there's just a lot that goes into it. And I know a lot of people would try to kind of like see what they could get away with in a way, you know, and like, well, the teachers probably won't say anything if I don't wear this day, or if I don't put my hair up on this day, or whatever. And I advise you to just not do that, to just follow all the rules, make the teachers' lives easier. Like, they don't want to be getting on to people all the time either. Like, imagine how exhausting that would be. And it's just a bad look. Like, you're going to have to follow rules and procedures in your career. So you need to go ahead and get a feel for that and start to get in the habit of doing that while you're in school, which I know sounds so, like, preachy and annoying, but it's just the truth. So just stay in line. Don't try to break any rules. Don't get in any trouble. It's just a bad look, and it's extra stress and drama that you and your professors really don't need. Tip number 18 is don't be dead set on a specialty or a career, because like I know for me, I went into it thinking I want to be a cosmetic nurse. This is what I want to do. But I still try to keep an open mind, and like I actually really fell in love with psych nursing when I was in nursing school, and I even went to a few psych nursing interviews, and I really thought that that might be something that I would do. At least I knew it wasn't going to be long term. It wasn't like my passion or anything like aesthetics is, but I did really enjoy it. So just try to keep an open mind. You might really like something that you wouldn't think that you would like, and you might end up doing something completely different than what you expected. So don't be dead set. Keep an open mind. Anything can happen. Never say never. All the little cliche sayings. The next tip is to find ways to blow off steam or calm yourself so you don't take frustration out on others. So this kind of goes along with the self-care thing that I said earlier. When you're super stressed out, when you're really overwhelmed, when you have a lot going on, it can be really easy to take that frustration out on someone else. And usually it's the people who are closest to you, like your boyfriend, your husband, your fiance, your parents, your best friend. And that is the last thing you want. When you're in nursing school, you really need that like strong support system and the people around you who you care about. And those people aren't going to want to be around you if you're cussing them out all the time because of how stressed you are with nursing school. So you really need to find other ways to take your anger out. And this is just like a life tip, not even a nursing school tip. When you're feeling frustrated or overwhelmed, get it out for sure. Don't bottle it in. So maybe that means going to talk to a therapist or doing things to blow off steam, like going on a run, working out, doing whatever you do. But that is super, super important because your poor boyfriend is not the one who assigned you all those assignments. And so you really don't want to take it out on people who can't help it, who don't deserve it. So just keep that in mind. And then our last tip, tip number 20, is to have someone that you can rant to or cry to, whether that be a classmate, a parent, a friend, a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is. Have like 1 or 2 people that you can just vent to and rant to. And even if they're not really listening, like just somebody that you can get it out to. Don't abuse this because, you know, nobody wants to sit around and listen to people gripe and complain all the time. But sometimes you really do need to like vent and rant. And I feel like a classmate is probably the best option out of all of this because they understand they're going through the exact same thing that you're going through. And so they're probably going to be a lot more receptive to it. So try to make those connections and like friendships in class. Don't do what I'll do and isolate yourself. And have somebody that you can talk to and get it out so that you're not bottling it up because you will go crazy. Okay, so I hope I didn't freak you guys out too much if you're about to start nursing school or you're just starting out or whatever, because I feel like I kind of make it sound terrible. And even though I had a pretty negative experience, it was really my own fault, and that's why I wanted to make this video so that other people can go into it with a more positive mindset and hopefully have a better experience than I did and get more out of it. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys are able to get something out of this and take this advice and run with it. Nursing school is not the worst thing on the planet. You even might enjoy it, and you really will learn so much and grow so much as a person. I feel like I'm a completely different person now than when I started nursing school. You see some crazy stuff and you go through some really crazy stuff, but I feel like it definitely makes you stronger and makes you just a better person in general and a better nurse. So stay on top of your study. Try not to stress yourself out too much. Life is going to go on. It's not the end of the world. Even if you fail a test, if you fail a class, whatever, keep pushing, keep going. You're going to be fine. You're going to be a nurse and all will work out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Good luck if you are starting nursing school or you're in it right now. I hope you have the best experience ever and you get so much out of it. And I will see you guys in the next video.